If you're not sure what to do next, how about I take you on a walk?
Need to hire a duelist? Move it!
Think about it. Exactly. But none of them believe it.
sure it'll
I
get
simply
resolved.
could not believe it.
No way. I'm not guessing.
What is the situation?
You're here? I thought you were going after... Ah, I guess you lost their trail.
We went to Cyrus's house. No one was there. Sino got there before us, but he was long gone by the time we arrived.
He didn't say where he was going?
No. He left us a letter and told us not to go after him.
Can't say I'm surprised.
Typical Sino. Anyway, some updates on progress on our end. I drew the emblem from memory again, but in more detail this time.
I checked some ancient texts for a similar design. The one I found was a little blurry, but the similarities in the general form and certain details were clear enough to confirm a match.
Yeah, and we're lucky we found anything at all. It turns out the emblem was all but lost to history. We scoured the entire Academia collection, and that book was the only one with a record of the motif.
Meanwhile, Arav managed to get Uraka to disclose his source. The one who told him about Cyrus's embezzled funds was a young man from the desert. According to Uraka, he had a striking presence and was well educated.
Apparently, the two met in the tavern over a game of cards. The guy claimed to be in the city for business as part of a merchant caravan. Uraka was intrigued when he heard what his new acquaintance had to say and brought up the idea of extorting Cyrus for Mora. The guy encouraged him to go ahead with it, then handed him some pen and paper to write the letter.
I see. So it could be that this person planted the paper intentionally.
So, how do we find this guy? Did Uraka say where he is?
He doesn't know. He claims not to have seen him since that day in the tavern. The man gave him some tips on how to carry out the extortion, but from then on, Uraka was acting alone.
Nephis and Arav have gone to meet the Core of 30 and review the city's entry and exit records. Also, Nephis admitted that the Temple of Silence in the Academia is just a facade. The true Temple of Silence once came to the rainforest to establish a collaboration with the Academia, but as time went by, the sages gradually became corrupt and foolish. The Temple of Silence felt that they could no longer trust the Academia and ended the partnership. They retreated back to the desert about 400 years ago. Ever since its inception, the Temple of Silence has been the guardians of King Deshret's civilization and belief system. They traveled throughout Sumeru, sequestering and guarding any wisdom that posed a threat to the people's livelihoods. At its roots, it was a legitimate and reputable organization whose purpose was to guide people towards the right path.
The academia of the day knew that the split would damage their reputation if it became a matter of public knowledge. And so, they set up a dummy organization of their own to conceal the truth.
Not only that, but they managed to keep up the charade for hundreds of years!
So how did Cyrus become acquainted with the true Temple of Silence if they left centuries ago?
I'll bet that's the question that bothered Sino. Probably why he went after him in such a rush.
Whoever is behind this, getting Uraka to extort Cyrus was only the first step of the plan. Their true goal in doing so was for Cyrus to see the emblem on the letter.
He must have recognized it right away. That'll be why he didn't want to involve the authorities. He probably hoped to take care of the whole thing by himself. Unfortunately for him, Sino had other plans.
Since the desert is where the Temple of Silence originated, that is in all likelihood where Cyrus went.
I have to go after him.
Really? Are you sure that's a good idea, with how you respond to the heat? Why don't we send someone else?
I should be fine, as long as I bring plenty of water. Besides, I just can't shake this ominous feeling that if we don't catch up to them soon...
Everyone, I have news from the Core of 30.
Master!
Oh, so that's Nafis, Tainari's master? Oh, we're finally getting to meet him in person!
It's a pleasure to meet you, Traveler in Paimon. Several independent eyewitnesses have reported seeing Cyrus and Mahamatra Sino leaving the city at different times. Both were heading in the direction of Caravan Rebat. I was going to suggest that you join forces with the Core of 30 in this case. However, as I'm sure you've already heard from Al-Haytham and Kaveh, the Temple of Silence is involved. The Academia has made a number of decisions throughout history that I am ashamed to talk about. It may well be that no better choice was available to them, but those actions are nonetheless a stain on our legacy. I won't attempt to make you understand the Academia's perspective. Now is the time for action.
I understand where you're coming from, Master. But I'm afraid the situation might be more complicated than we thought. I think we need to keep a low profile, or risk making things worse.
Good point. If Cyrus is involved with the other side, or worse, if he's fallen into their hands, and... Everyone, we have to get Cyrus and Sino back safely. We cannot afford to lose them.
Need our help? Whatever you need, we got you covered.
Really? Wonderful. You have my most sincere gratitude. Arav and I will continue to follow up on the lead from Uraka. Kaveh, Scribe Alhaitham, I'd like to ask you to cover the duties of the House of Dana. Tighnari, you are planning to go into the desert, correct?
I am. Kaveh, I'll be okay. You stay behind to help Master and Alhaitham.
Well, if you're sure. Okay. But be careful.
Thank you all. Arav, let's go.
You'd better get moving. Don't forget to ask for help when you need it.
Will do. Let's go, Tighnari. Hopefully we can catch up with Sino before it's too late.
Knowing him, he's probably covered a fair distance already, but we still have a shot. Let's take it.
Okay, we made it to Caravan Ribat. Where should we go next? Maybe we should ask the nearby guards if they've seen anything.
Hold on. Look over there.
Is that Dia?
You sure you want to brave the desert alone? I mean, it's your choice at the end of the day, but still.
It's not my first time. I'll be fine.
Sino.
If you're really going to go through with this, then at least take our advice. When you're packing for your trip, budget for 5 days more than you plan to spend out there.
Makes sense. Okay, I'll go get ready.
Thought we might find you here. You're trying to retrace Cyrus's steps, aren't you?
Didn't I tell you not to come after me? I thought I had a good lead on you.
Sorry, but we never agreed to that. Why would you go off on your own like this?
Nothing personal. It's just a complex situation. And I'd rather not involve anyone else if I can help it.
Takes a special kind of person to get Sino chasing them all the way out to Caravan Ribat. But why so coy today, huh? You only gave us his age and description. Why can't you reveal his name? Is he Sumeru's most wanted or something? Oh, also, hey guys, it's been a while.
Dia and Candace! So nice to see you. Actually, seeing all of our friends is the whole reason we're here.
You're looking well. Glad to see it. Candace and I came to Caravan Rebot on business. We ran into Sino as he was asking about some elderly gentleman's whereabouts. Some people say they saw him. Guess he stood out as an older guy heading into the desert alone with just a sumpter beast in tow and very few supplies. That's gotta be one heck of a story there.
Sino, it's okay if you can't tell us anything about the case. But let us know how we can support you. We're here to help however you need. The more people we have working on this, the quicker we'll be able to find the person you seek.
No, it's not that simple. If I'm right, he'll be doing everything he can to avoid us.
We spoke with Zaha Hadid. From what she said, it's pretty clear that he wants to try and solve this on his own. It won't be easy trying to find him in the desert when he's deliberately trying to cover his tracks.
Sounds like this is far more complex than we imagined.
Still, if he started from Caravan Rebot, the chances are that his route took him past our village. You may as well ask if anyone there has seen him.
My thanks to you both. Once this is resolved, I will find a way to repay you.
Ah, come on. No need to get all serious. Just buy a round of drinks next time we're all in the city or something.
That's a deal.
All right, so, you all set?
Yes, we'll handle it from here. Thank you again for your help. I don't take it for granted.
All right, then we'll leave you to it. Just remember, if you change your mind and need some reinforcements, we'll be here.
And don't think you'd be imposing. You can depend on us.
Don't worry, we'll keep him out of trouble.
Hold on. There's a few things I'd like to clear up.
Go on.
So, after you left the campsite, we had a longer talk.
Clearly, we've only scratched the surface of the Temple of Silence question. It doesn't surprise me at all that the one in the academia is a fake.
Do you have any connection with the Temple of Silence?
I do. I trust you're all aware of the spirit that gives me my power. Hermanubis, the original founder of the Temple of Silence. Due to my unique constitution, I was put through a number of trials in the desert when I was younger. Later, I met the professor, and he brought me to Sumeru City. But my memory of that time is hazy. I can't recall much. It's a good thing that Kaveh noticed the emblem on the letter. Without that, I don't know if we would have connected the dots, and realized there was more to this case than mere extortion. I did not recognize that symbol at all. Whether that's because I've never seen it, or because my memory fails me, it's hard to say.
Yeah, you're right. Thank goodness for Kaveh, and for Alhaitham's diligence during his time as acting Grand Sage.
But Cyrus must have recognized it right away, right? Otherwise, he wouldn't have had any qualms about you reporting it. Oh, maybe his connection to the Temple of Silence goes even deeper than yours.
I suspect so too. Professor has never once mentioned the Temple of Silence in conversation. And whenever the conversation turns to Hermanubis and the concept of spirit indwelling, he avoids going into any depth.
Well, speaking of avoiding things, you do realize, don't you, now that we've caught up with you, you're stuck with us for the rest of the way.
I am aware. And I have accepted it. Or rather, I don't see how I could manage to ditch you en route, so I might as well accept that you're coming with me.
That's right. Fact is, we're coming with you whether you like it or not, so the best option now is to try to look out for each other. Ha!
Fair enough. Then at least let me buy you a drink once we're back in the city.
Works for me. All right, off we go. Let's start by seeing what the guards here...
Hello.
Mahamatra Sino?
I'm looking for someone. So I'd like to confirm any recent foot traffic in and out of Aru Village.
A man matching that description passed by Aru Village not too long ago. He stopped by to load up on food and water and feed his sumpter beast. Then he was on his way.
Where was he going?
Let me think. He took a seat by the entrance of the village for a while, and had a brief chat with the person who came to deliver the water. He said he was headed... somewhere near an oasis, but he didn't mention which one. Do you have a map? I can mark out the direction he was heading and the best routes to any nearby oases.
I have one. Mark away.
Great. There you go.
Thank you so much. You were a great help.
You've got a really good memory.
Ah, you're quite welcome. Just doing my job. Best of luck. I hope you find him soon.
Hold on. I see some people over there.
Do you think it's safe to ask them what they know?
Should be. I'll go...
No. I'll do it.
Huh? Why can't Sino go talk to them? What difference does it make?
Given my background, appearance, and the way I dress, I might not be the most welcome visitor here. Just in case, it's probably better to let a more neutral party handle things.
Ah, Hello there. I hope I'm not interrupting. My friend and I are looking for an elderly man who's gone missing around these parts. Any chance I could ask you a couple of questions?
Oh, a missing person, huh? Sure. What do you want to know?
I'm just wondering if you've seen him. Let me give you the details.
So, a silver-haired guy in a long robe, culture type with thoughtful eyes, and he's traveling alone.
He'd stand out like a sore thumb around here.
Yeah, sounds like the kind of guy we'd remember if we saw him.
He's looking behind me.
Uh-oh. That guy's looking our way.
Your friend over there stands out a lot, too. Hey, aren't you Sino, the General Mahamatra?
Yes, that's me.
You don't seem surprised that I recognized you.
It wouldn't be the first time.
Oh, you're the one looking for the old man who's gone missing, aren't you?
I have a bad feeling about this guy.
Someone's on edge. You don't trust me much, do you? No need to hide it. I understand why you're wary of us. Still, you came to us asking for help. Do you want it or not?
I thought you were a group of merchants. Seems I was mistaken.
Your henchmen don't look like much, but something tells me they put up a better fight than most mercenaries.
Hey! Hear that, guys? You're my henchmen now.
Suits me, as long as I get paid for it.
Just cut to the chase already. I'm running out of patience.
All right. Come with me. All of you. Don't you want to find your friend? A silver-haired, long-robe, culture type with thoughtful eyes? Sounds like there's a whole other side to Cyrus I didn't know about.
So you know where he is?
Just follow me. I'll take you to him. And here.
What? Where are you looking? There's nothing here!
Please, step back.
Ooh, something's coming out of the ground!
What is this enormous building doing here?
And how was it so well hidden? King Deshret's technology?
Wait, so... Hold on, who are you guys really?
Is this the Temple of Silence? So you're a member?
All good questions. There'll be plenty of time to address them later.
This is not what Paimon was expecting to find in the desert, especially not hidden right next to an oasis. Ooh, Paimon's scared. They must have kidnapped Cyrus. Do you think this is the guy Uraka met in the tavern?
What's wrong? Thinking about your professor?
I just hope for your sake you haven't done anything you might regret.
Me too. I hope I haven't done anything to incur your wrath. All right, you can wait here for now. I'll inform our leader that you've arrived at the Temple of Silence. Sit tight until he comes to greet you.
So he's just gonna leave us here unattended? Maybe we're not being kidnapped after all.
They can't have been at the Oasis by chance. They were waiting for us. Whoever the leader is here, they were obviously counting on us showing up.
So this is the Temple of Silence. After leaving the rainforest, they hid themselves here?
Hey, look! That guy's coming back.
Don't worry. Someone will come and call for you soon.
What's your name?
Sorry, guess I was so delighted to see you, I forgot to introduce myself. My name is Sethos. I'll be here if you need me, but I'm not planning on answering all of your questions. Other than that, you can occupy yourselves however you see fit.
So we're free to explore by ourselves?
Yep. I mean, I'm not worried about you running off. Cyrus is here. And unless I've misunderstood, you're all quite anxious to see him again.
He's right. Well, if we've got some time, we might as well take a look around. I never imagined that the true Temple of Silence would be hidden somewhere like this.
That's King Deshret's technology for you, I guess. It borders on the miraculous. Amazing to think that it's been preserved intact all this time.
We should be wary of our hosts. Still, at this point, we can be confident that the professor is safe and sound, so that's something.
Hey, Sethos! Have you got some time to chat?
Sure. Although, I'm assuming by chat, you mean you have questions for me? I don't blame you. And not often. The Temple of Silence is a place of quiet and solitude. We don't get too many visitors. What kind of question is that? He's the General Mahamatra.
Right, but back at the Oasis, you can't have known who he was for sure, or you wouldn't have asked him. So, what we're really asking is, have you never seen him in person before?
I've lived in the desert my whole life. Guess you could say I've never had the pleasure.
Ugh, why does Paimon feel like this guy's not being straight with us?
Come on, we've only just met. If I give you all the answers up front, you'll have nothing left to look forward to. Yes, that was me. Although, tricked is a stretch. He was asking everyone in the tavern about ways to make some easy money. He insisted that nothing was off the table, even if it broke the law. So, I told him that Cyrus had embezzled a large sum of mora from the desert.
So you framed Cyrus for a crime that he did not commit?
No. That's not entirely true. Let me jog your memory. The letter just said that he had uncovered Cyrus's secret. Of course. Uraka was a great accomplice, really. Very cooperative with a little bit of wine in him. Did exactly what he was told. And not much of...
Why did Cyrus leave for the desert as soon as he received the letter?
You'll have to ask him that one yourself. Certain things I can't answer for him. All you need to know is that he recognized our emblem. And it was his own choice to take the bait. Nope.
Really?
I have no need to go there. Not when the taverns are full of the Urakas of this world. Besides, we're well aware of what goes on at that place. Spies? It's not as clandestine as that. The city gates are wide open. Anyone's free to walk in. You can find out all you need to know just by walking around town and hearing the... Ah, here he is. Grandfather, the person you wish to see is here.
Well done, Sethos. Greetings, one and all. I am Ba Moon, the current leader of the Temple of Silence. I know why you are here, and I thank you for your patience. Bring him out.
Professor!
Cyrus, are you okay?
Ah! Watch what you're doing!
Oh, my apologies. We have no intention of causing you distress. But you must understand, Cyrus is of great importance to us. Cyrus owes me his life, and to the Temple of Silence, he owes a debt of gratitude. I let him go a long time ago.
I wanted to end my feud with this old bag of bones before you caught up with me. But you got here so quickly. Just leave, Sino. This is a matter between us two old men. You're all too young to get involved.
So that's why you didn't want to report the letter. You'd made up your mind to come here from the beginning. You only left in such a hurry to try and throw us off your trail.
Some things in life catch up with you, no matter what you do. You shouldn't have come. That alone brought the others.
Sino didn't make us do anything. We came here for the same reason he did. To rescue you. We'd appreciate you telling us the truth. Otherwise, it seems a little unfair on everyone who had to stay behind.
My secrets are secret for good reason. Bringing them to light can only lead to misfortune.
You're afraid, aren't you? You can't bring yourself to speak of your past deeds to the students you nurtured as if they were your own children. You recognized our emblem because for many years you lived among us. Indeed, you all but became one of us. You knew as soon as you saw the letter that we, not Uraka, were the ones speaking to you. It threatened you only because you know what you did. Your own guilt convicted you. For you, Cyrus, are a traitor. You once shared your learning with us, and joined us in our mission to revive the might of Hermanubis, to bring new hope, new opportunity. But then, you betrayed us. You bargained for your independence with your past contributions. And then you left, taking with you Hermanubis' might and the wielder of his power. We both know what I said to you that day. That as the leader, I grant you permission to leave, but that one day, the sands of time will catch up with you. And when that day comes, you must pay the price you owe.
You really know how to hold a grudge.
Hermanubis' might? And the wielder of his power?
Does he mean you?
Professor, anything to say?
Bamoon is right. I came here once before. He rescued me from the brink of death once, many years ago in the desert. When he learned that I was a scholar, he invited me to come here and revive the might of Hermanubis together. It was a great, daring plan, and one shrouded in secrecy. Bamoon proposed that we implant bar fragments, shards of Hermanubis, into the bodies of suitable vessels. If the experiment was successful, the spirit of Hermanubis would then dwell within the vessel. Many believers volunteered themselves for the experiment. But we soon discovered that the bodies of grown adults could not withstand Hermanubis' power. One other child was identified as a suitable vessel, and his parents agreed to release him into our custody in exchange for a small fortune. These two children were our only hope for hosting Hermanubis' power.
For many years, the Temple of Silence had been in possession of 2 Ba fragments from Hermanubis. As remnants of his raw power, they were exceedingly rare. The test subjects were sent into a room that had been prepared for the ceremony, and instructed to approach the Ba fragments, whose power had been amplified. If, after some time, this power did not repel them, this would mean that they were suitable vessels. The original plan was for a 3-stage experiment: resonance, implantation, and recovery and observation. The resonance stage went quite smoothly for both candidates. As the 2nd stage began, I realized a decision had to be made. Should we implant the fragments one at a time? This would allow us to monitor the results after the first round and adjust our plan accordingly. Or alternatively, we could implant each fragment in a different vessel at the same time. But as I was deliberating, both Ba fragments suddenly became active. They glowed with a light we had never seen before. I knew that if they were not implanted right away, they would disintegrate and be gone from the world for good. Our 2 vessels had both displayed great promise by successfully resonating with the fragments. Under the circumstances, the thought of implanting both fragments into the same vessel seemed to preserve our faith and our power. We implanted each of them with a single fragment.
Ultimately, I ended the experiment and left, taking one of the children with me.
In recognition of your past contributions, I chose not to send someone to hunt down and kill you both. Your lives were spared, but I have paid a great price for you. I have always wanted to see you, Sino. Losing you and your Ba fragment dealt us a devastating blow. We've been in decline ever since you left.
I see. So that's how I gained my power.
Look, in essence, I borrowed your Ba fragment for a decade or so. And Now you are seeking justice. If you want to take my life, then so be it. I'm an old man now, but you cannot lift a finger against Sino. He is the General Mahamatra. Your actions would be seen as a declaration of war against the Academia.
I'm sure you don't remember anymore, dear Sino, but you've met us all before. You were so young then, when we all gathered around and celebrated the revival of our Lord. You and he, Sethos, you were our final hope.
You'd like me to return my power?
As a follower of Hermanubis, I have allowed this power to remain in the rainforest for far too long. Now, it is time to reclaim it.
That power is not yours to reclaim. Sino was chosen by the gods. You cannot take what they have bestowed.
You are wrong. Sino was chosen, but he was not the only one. My child, Sethos, has the same gift as he.
So those are your terms for freeing the professor?
Despise me all you want. My sins are my own. The Temple of Silence is an innocent party. It is because of my foolishness all those years ago that the Temple's glory has waned. And now I must take responsibility for the decision I made back then.
So what you're saying is, the power of one Ba fragment is not enough? You're asking me to return the one in my possession, so it can be implanted in him instead?
Divine power causes great suffering to those who wield it. How do you know that Sethos would be able to withstand it?
He is no longer a small child. But regardless, this burden is ours to bear, and your objections mean little given that you turned your back on us long ago.
Both my heart and mind are telling me that what you are proposing is a terrible idea. However...
Don't listen to him, Sino. That power is no more yours to give than it is his to take. You have to understand.
I know. But if this is a question of your freedom versus a fragment of power, then... there is nothing to debate.
Sorry to interrupt, but in my view, there are a number of contentions here that still need addressing. Say that Sino refuses to return his power, and you also refuse to release Cyrus. Then, we are at an impasse. I find it hard to believe that you went to all this effort without planning for that possibility. You're trying to gauge where we stand while keeping your remaining cards close to your chest. Well, my stance is, put the rest of your cards on the table. Then we can have a discussion.
Wait, those ears... So, we have a descendant of the Valukashuna in our midst. Splendid! Fate smiles upon us after all. Everything we have longed for, Hermanubis will provide. Perhaps this very day we'll...
Why is he coughing so much? He looks like he's in really bad shape.
Pamoon, you...
Take our leader back to his room.
Sethos...
Grandfather, I know what you wish to say. Leave this in my hands. I don't like to drag out conversations, so I'll just cut to the chase. Had Cyrus not stopped the experiment all those years ago, the plan would most likely have been a success. The wisdom of Hermanubis would have been ours. Still, it's no use talking about what-ifs. We cannot change the past. I'm not like my grandfather. The Temple of Silence has a grand legacy and a sacred duty to fulfill. so it's somewhat inevitable for the leader to have an inflated sense of self. But I see things a little differently. I don't believe the temple has the same stature that it once did. Time has worn away at its prestige and changed things almost beyond recognition. So I'm not going to force your hand. You're all free to leave. Except for Cyrus. My grandfather gave him his chance once, and now I'm giving the rest of you yours.
You have courage and wise judgment, kid. Reminds me a lot of Bamoon in his younger years. I truly wish that the temple would take an objective look at the academia of today. And things will only continue to improve. Why not consider cooperating with the academia once more?
If you hadn't betrayed my grandfather, I might well be open to persuasion. But it's a bit too late for that.
Tainari made a good point earlier. He said there has to be more to your plan than this, and I agree. All you and Ba Moon are after is the Ba fragment. The professor will accept whatever fate you deem fit for him out of a sense of guilt. Ultimately, you want to trade the Ba fragment for the professor, correct?
I'm glad to see you're giving it some serious
I won't forsake my professor. Nor do I intend to run from a problem that I must face sooner or later.
That works. Then I'll be waiting to... Oh, my grandfather still has a fair few things he wants to say to Cyrus, so I'll be escorting him back now.
Are you sure about negotiating with him?
I need to think this through. Everyone, let's meet again later tonight. Until then, take some time.
All right, well, don't put too much pressure on yourself, Saino. If you need an...
I've taken some time to reflect on this. If I had to guess, Professor Cyrus came to the desert knowing that he would almost certainly never return. He's a stubborn man who tends to double down when he feels strongly about something. We won't get anywhere trying to convince him to escape.
I agree. My master Nephis says the same thing. Once Cyrus makes up his mind about something, he won't listen to reason.
So that's one thing. A few other things come to mind too. You've heard all you need to hear about the Temple of Silence. So on that, I don't have anything to add. My own memories of this place are hazy though. Probably something to do with the overpowering presence of the Ba fragments. I do remember having some fleeting moments of profound emotion when vague images would appear in my mind. But I don't recall much, only bits and pieces. I was still young then, and all I could understand was that there was a strong will inside my mind. Think the power that came to inhabit my spirit was probably one of the cornerstones of their whole faith. So if the will and might of Hermanubis is a real, intangible thing, and they are its rightful worshippers, then...
You're not gonna give in to their demands, are you? Surely there has to be another way!
No. I have no intention of returning it. I need this power to protect Sumeru. But the temple has the right to make the final decision over its fate, since it belongs to one of the 7 pillars of King Deshret. So I will challenge them head-on, and win the right to wield this power for myself, fair and square.
This reminds me of something Alhaitham mentioned to me just before we left. He said that the Temple of Silence was originally founded by the ruling elite of the day. Traditionally, such organizations are bound by a strict and ancient code of nobility. Kaveh has made similar observations about the desert tribes from his work trips there. He says many of them have their own internal rules. They talk about the importance of never dishonoring their tribal bonds, or the rules laid down by their ancestors. I think we could turn that to our advantage. Go back to them with a proposal of our own.
Wow, and just like that, we've turned the tables on them.
Looks like we have the same idea. Turn it back on them now while we still can, in terms that they cannot refuse. That's how we win this.
Great. And I know just how to start the conversation. Let's go find Sethos. We'll tell him that I know a thing or two about medicine and would like to take a look at his grandfather's condition.
Sethos, let's talk.
Have you made up your mind?
We'll get to that, but first, I have some degree of medical training, so I was wondering if you might let me take a look at your grandfather?
I have no objections, although we do have our own doctors here. I doubt you'll be able to tell us anything we don't already know.
Only one way to find out.
Follow me. Keep your voices down. We don't want to disturb him.
Let's talk outside. Bamoon has fallen into a deep coma, and his prognosis is quite grave. I'm sure that your physicians have come to the same conclusion. He appears to have sustained a serious injury in his youth, which has been exacerbated over the years by the heavy burden of work and now by the effects of old age. Regretfully, I must inform you that, based on what I've seen with patients in a similar condition, he doesn't have long left. A few days at most.
Yeah. I've known for a long time.
You're his heir, aren't you? You clearly have a lot of respect for the man. But you also see things differently. You have a broader range of concerns and a more pragmatic approach. So tell me how we can end this on your terms. Let's find a way to bring all this to a resolution while Bamoon is still alive to see it. That's what really matters to you. I know it.
Yeah, there's no time to waste here. You know that better than anyone.
You know, the two of you are actually in a very similar predicament right now. Both of you have a very different perspective from the men who raised you.
Right. And you didn't create this situation. They did, but somehow you've ended up having to make the tough decisions.
You're right. We both look at this problem very differently than the people we inherited it from. I accept, Sino. This all began because of Hermanubis, so let's end it with the rite he himself created. Legend has it that when Hermanubis first arrived in Tuletula, he sparred with the city's residents. He and his two companions proved their mettle by fighting over several days, winning the support of many fine people. That group of supporters were some of the first members of the Temple of Silence, and the sparring matches were enshrined as one of our founding rites, the rite of duels. It's where it all began.
Sounds very fitting. I'm in.
As a fellow vessel of Hermanubis, your ties to the Temple of Silence run deep. So I will permit you to participate in this rite, along with your chosen companions.
3 against 3.
However, I have some additional terms. As the challengers, you must win all 3 of your fights to win. And Sino, both of us must put our Ba fragment on the line. the winner. Letting Cyrus leave with one of the Ba fragments was a mistake, made by my grandfather out of pity. It is a long-standing issue that must be addressed for the Temple of Silence to move forward.
None needed. We're on. If I win, the Temple of Silence must release Cyrus, and consider this past dispute resolved. If you win, I'll return my power to you.
It's a deal. Then let's meet at the ceremonial hall tomorrow evening.
Well, after how that went, there's definitely no turning back now.
There never was. Turning back hasn't been an option for me since the moment the professor slipped away to return to the desert.
You have to win. You need this power, both as General Mahamatra and for yourself.
Yeah, that's right! Besides, it stayed with you ever since you were a small child. Surely that's a sign it thinks of you as its rightful owner.
Both as General Mahamatra. Yeah, when you put it that way. I've had to overcome a lot to tame this power and claim it for myself.
Exactly!
The Traveler and I will never lose.
And neither shall I. The desert was home to an ancient and great civilization that, for a variety of reasons, fell out with the civilization of the rainforest. It's just as Dia said. But there must be personal factors at work here too. I can't shake the feeling that Bamoon cares for many more things than he lets on. And I don't think that Sethos is any kind of villain.
We gather on this day to perform once more the rite of duels, with the greatest of all sages, Lord Hermanubis, as our witness, for his power and this is our most sacred of ceremonies, and no disruption from the audience shall be tolerated. It is incumbent upon all to observe the duel with the utmost respect and reverence throughout the proceedings. Representing the Temple of Silence, the Defenders.
Grandfather, you're here.
A rite of duels after all these years. I am surprised by your decision, Sethos.
I know what I'm doing, Grandfather. Just leave it to me.
Representing the Academia, the Challengers.
Ready. We will fight to have our voices heard.
Warriors, take your positions and decide on the order of... We come not to debate what brings our challengers here, nor what will become of the defeated duelists. Duelists, the might of Hermanubis himself is at stake here.
Huh? Are you sure?
I agree. She's very strong. Sending her out first will definitely intimidate the opposing side.
Okay, then you're second.
Sure.
We have decided.
So have we. Let's begin.
Duelists of the first bout, please step forward.
Don't forget, safety first! Hey, you there! You better play nice with her, or Paimon will make you regret it!
Little bit too much chatter from the audience over there.
A swift end to the first bout. I now invite the duelists of the second bout to please step forward. When you're both ready,
Let's begin.
Watch out!
He drank plenty of water before the bout, so he should be fine.
And shroud! One with the forest. Let's nip that in the bud. Keep up. Can't see?
thus ends the second bout. We will now move to the third bout. Duelists, please step forward.
I'm ready.
So am I.
This is the final stage of the rite. I remind you both that the terms you agreed upon in advance are binding. When you're both ready...
I am Sethos. For many years, we have kept our covenant with Lord Hermanubis by guarding the secrets of King Deshret. And even in our darkest hour, when we could not see a way forward, we chose not to abandon hope, but to embark on a brave new experiment, so that we earnestly sought Lord Hermanubis' wisdom and power, longing to see his spirit, and now, I will fight to become the rightful wielder of that power!
I am Cyno, General Mahamatra of the Academia, student and successor of Cyrus, the Sage of Spontamod. I fight in defense of my power, my professor, and my nation. And you. I think you left some things unsaid. This is a sacred duel. And...
Everyone. My grandfather is a but our faith has held us back for too long. After I grew up, I went to the rainforest once. Times have changed. The people of Sumeru are happier and more free now than in the past. Then I thought of you, Cyno. You and I both wield the same power. Yet the lives we lead could not be more different. Each Ba fragment of Hermanubis stands for something different. Might, glory. I once thought that the nature of...
I am more than just a warrior.
Exactly.
The name Hermanubis has left its mark on both of us. So show me your answer, Sino. Show me I can be more than my faith. Bring it on!
That's all you've got? What happened to searching for your answer?
Fight's over. Do you yield?
You won.
Well then, looks like you found your answer.
I give his glory to you.
I've seen that light. That is the light of our Lord, the great Hermanubis, priest over all other priests. His spirit dwells within that lightning, and his will lives on. Once a warrior of Tynar, he emerged from the barren desert sands to serve the god king Al-Ahmar. After the death of the god king, Hermanubis gathered his followers and the Tynarian priests and led them to the city of Tule-Tula. There, they founded the Temple of Silence, and from that day forth, we became stewards of all knowledge that survived from King Deshret's civilization. Barely a century passed before war ravaged the desert. One by one, Eremite leaders took up arms against each other in battles that would devour what little remained of their civilization. Only the wise city of Tule-Tula was spared under the guiding hand of the Tynarians. But peace did not last. Coveting the knowledge of King Deshret, the beasts set their eyes on Tule-Tula. The king of Gurabad laid siege to the city and ordered the sages to surrender to him the Temple of Silence as proof of his victory. The ruling elite colluded with their oppressors, betraying the temple so as to hold on to their rule over the city. They declared that the knowledge guarded by the temple was the true cause of corruption. These were dark days, and we faced enemies on all sides. Our Lord had long since exhausted his strength, keeping the forbidden knowledge introduced by King Deshret at bay. To ensure the temple's continued survival, he broke his being into many pieces and began the ceremony of Hermanubis' legacy, bestowing his power upon his mortal followers. With this power, the temple was able to defeat the tyrant's army. Yet, we were not hailed as heroes. Strange and unfamiliar as this power was, it struck fear into the people's hearts and drove them to reject us. In the end, the people of the temple and the Tule Tula Tainarians left the city for good and made their way to the rainforest. What followed next was inevitable. The elite of Tule Tula fell and were decimated. War engulfed the desert. And we wandered from place to place, always in hiding, all the while keeping close watch over our secrets and staying true to our mission. Betrayal forced us out of the desert and into the forest. Then mistrust drove us from the forest into the desert once more. We have lived in exile for far, far too long. Yet, today, the Temple of Silence has borne witness to the glory of Hermanubis once more. Thank you.
How is it? Do you feel okay?
Grandfather.
Hey, Sethos. You'll get through this.
I know. I'll miss him.
I guess you were prepared for this. It's been a long time coming, huh?
Yeah, he's been on death's door for a very long time now. I think at least he was able to see this chapter come to a close.
What's next for you?
Per my grandfather's last wishes, the Temple of Silence should submit to whoever possesses the largest number of Hermanubis fragments. That entitles you to be our new leader.
But that's never going to work, as I'm sure you realize. I did foresee this possibility, and I gave it some thought. The fact is, I know next to nothing about the staff, records, and environment here. As such, I am ill-suited to be your leader. Sethos, I believe the honor should go to you. Were it not for this duel, or indeed if you had other intentions, the Ba fragments would most likely be in your hands by now. I'm sure Bamoon never meant for anyone but you to be his successor.
You really think so?
I do.
Still, I didn't think Bamoon looked very surprised by the final result. Perhaps he had an inkling that this would be the way things end.
Well, in any case, since the Ba fragments are with me now, I guess I can call the shots. Sethos, I would like you to succeed Bamoon as the new leader of the Temple of Silence. You are more suited to the role than I, and I have complete faith that you will be an excellent leader.
But doesn't that render everything that we've been through up to now meaningless?
No, it doesn't. This experience has allowed us to become friends, which means that the Academia and the Temple of Silence will become partners once more. That's a much bigger deal than you might think, Sethos. You said yourself, times have changed.
I will try. To be honest.
Actually, part of me wonders whether Bamoon's intentions from the very beginning was just to create enough pressure to force us towards a duel. That way, no matter who won, one of us would have to surrender our Ba fragment. Had you won, the Temple of Silence would have doubled its strength. And were I to win, he correctly anticipated that I wouldn't suddenly drop everything to become the leader of the temple, much less integrate the temple into the Academia by force. He knew that the temple's future would depend not just on the guidance of Hermanubis, but the support of the Academia too. So he made it his responsibility to ensure his successor would be free from the burdens of the past. His plan meant that whoever ended up succeeding him, they would have an easier time interacting with the Academia.
And here I thought the General Mahamatra wouldn't care for all these trivial details. You're absolutely right. Grandfather and I considered this from every angle. We had to find a way to mend our relationship with the Academia. In that sense, the Rite of Duels was thank you for everything, Sino. The Temple of Silence, but you must be exceedingly careful with your selection of candidates. By the way, Tainari, my grandfather was so happy to see you. You are a descendant of the Veluca. The story goes that King Deshret chose the sage Hermanubis from among the Tainarians and appointed him as his familiar. He went on to fight many valiant battles with his Tainarian companions. They always stood by each other. The Tainarians who left Tuletula joined their human counterparts in the rainforest. A few centuries later, when some of the group returned to the desert, many of the Tainarians chose to stay and put down roots in the rain. In all likelihood, those were your ancestors.
How fascinating. My father once mentioned that I was named after the Tainarians, but I never knew that my forebears had such a history with the Temple of Silence.
I like this story.
By the way, has anyone seen Cyrus?
Yes, Cyrus. You'll probably find him in my grandfather.
If it's true that you and your
Someone's got to make the decisions. I will make a detailed report on all of this to Lesser Lord Kusanali, and arrange for an official delegation from the Academia to come and meet you in the desert. I'm sure you'll have lots to attend to in the days ahead. But once things return to normal, please come and visit the rainforest again. You should stay for a few days this time, and start to build some relationships. If we're going to work together, both sides have to get to know one another better.
I will. All right, well, bye for now, everyone. I'll be seeing you.
See you soon. Come hang out with us anytime.
What were you thinking gallivanting off into the desert alone at your age? What if you take the bucket, hmm? You told—
Oh, please, will you stop your yelling? What other choice did I—
What do you mean, what other choice? Do you mean a one-man suicide mission, hmm? That's the best idea that one of the finest minds of a generation could come up with, is it? It astounds me that you survived the journey, and you're lucky that Ba Moon didn't finish you off when you arrived.
All right, all right.
I've got nothing more to say. What's the point of berating an old bag of bones?
What do you mean, bag of bones? I'm a flesh and blood hero. Okay, look. Fine, I admit—
1 month? Try through—
Inari's master is really laying into Cyrus. Let's give them a what?
Professor brought this on himself. Don't pay.
Wow, I haven't seen Master get this riled up in a long... The last time he chewed someone out like this must have been back when I was still a student.
I think I'll go around and update everyone. Tell them the situation's resolved. Want to come with me? We can go for dinner afterwards. My treat.
Makes sense. I'm in.
Paimon's coming too! Let's...
Hey, Kale.
You're back! Well, look who we have here. Would you mind explaining to me what has been going on this past few days? I heard you all ran off into the desert and got embroiled in a major catastrophe.
All taken care of.
That does not answer my question. How could you be so careless? That goes for you as well. Yes, and you too. When you run into problems, you really ought to ask for help, you know? I've been around the block. Don't you think it would have made sense to involve me? And let's not forget, I know the desert like the back of my hand.
Now would not be a good time to attempt to argue with Farazan.
You're right.
It's not the first time that I've had to talk to you about this sort of thing either. You need to learn that there are times when the right thing to do is get a more experienced member of staff involved.
Kale, please do something.
He's giving me the signal. All right. Say, Madam Farazan, I can see you're pretty upset, but, I was just wondering, remember that time you offered to give me a tour of the academia? Does that offer still stand? Huh? Wait, did I hear that right? Kale, you remember? Wonderful. Well, of course the offer still stands.
Poor Kale getting dragged off like that. Also, check out Farazan acting like some sort of official
Kale! Cup.
Huh? What? Oh! What do you mean, cup? You need a cup. I can get you a cup. Oh, it's nothing. Just Master's way of reminding me to stay hydrated while I'm out and about.
It's code for let's reconvene at the cafe. Tainari and I used it while we were in school.
Oh, that's...
2 people left. Let's... Am I hallucinating? Or do I see Kaveh and Alhaitham engaged in diligent studying?
We're just reorganizing all the books we used. Look, there's a whole mountain of them.
There's no rush. Nobody reads these books anyway.
My sincere thanks to you both.
Yes, with your help, we resolved the issue rather swiftly and painlessly. And the...
I see. The Temple of Silence resorted to rather unique means of self-preservation. It explains how they managed to remain hidden for so many...
And it sounds like they managed to preserve a whole load of ancient documents as well. I'd love to go check those out if...
That day will come. The Temple of Silence is a hugely important organization, and we'll be sure to maintain good relations with them in the future. Now, as a token of my appreciation...
Yeah, sounds great. Although, after the last few days, I don't know if I can handle another coffee.
Sure.
And then the Traveler just pounced on their opponent and knocked him right out cold. Then there was Tainari. He put up an amazing fight too. We ended up winning all 3 bouts. Whoa. Part of me wishes I'd been there to see it, but I'd have been biting my nails off worrying about you guys.
A truly edifying account of the events. Bereft of detail, but it has livened up the room all the same.
Hey, Paimon included all the juicy details. The Traveler just pounced and then waved their sword like this, then spun around and blocked.
Despite winning 3 bouts in a row, you still ceded the position of leader to him. That's very dignified of you, Sino.
Of course. Being dignified comes with being a true champion.
I got to be a champion too for once. I've not sparred much with desert folk before. It was a pretty unique experience.
Yeah, huge place! It felt like something right out of an epic poem. Imagine this. It was like there was...
Maybe save that one for later, Paimon. Dessert's here.
I think that'll do me for today.
Shall we stop off at the House of Dana again before heading home?
My thoughts exactly. See you around.
I should get going as well. See you all later.
I need to go say thanks to the Core 30 for their help. Also, Sir Nephis says he wanted to introduce me to some of the Academia's work processes. So, I gotta...
Kali's come a long way.
Everyone's a work in progress.
Yeah, true.
That was good. It feels like everything's finally... Life is all all about these moments when you can finally relax and hang out with good friends after a...
Do you three have any? If not, would you come somewhere with me? That's a secret.
Okay. I think I can guess what you're talking about.
Well, now Paimon's...
Been a while since I last... Need any help?
It's a nice spot, isn't it?
What a great view! We're so high up!
Traveler, turn around. This is my secret base. Somewhere I only bring my best friends. When I was a student, I used to slip away and climb up here all the time, just to clear my head. Back then, I had a lot of the same questions that Sethos was asking. Our gifts help us to find our rightful place in the world. That was my experience. And I'm sure Sethos will figure things out in his own time, too.
You two really are like brothers.
I feel the same way. Of course. I see no need to be humble when it comes to the facts.
I still remember one time when we came up here to chat and do our homework. Sino accidentally dropped a fruit.
That was the one and only time. Nothing will ever slip through my fingers again.
Those were good times.
You know, Paimon really shouldn't be able to imagine Sino doing something like that, but...
Then make it stop. You guys carry on with that.
Okay.
Huh? Hey, you're not supposed to jump down! Be careful!
Oh my days. I can't believe how stupid I...
Professor, what are you muttering to yourself about?
Sino. Just the man I'm looking for. Guess what I found?
Some old photos?
Can you believe it? This notebook was just sitting in a pile of odds and ends in the Sage's office. I must have forgotten to take it with me, and no one's touched it. I was at the Academia earlier to discuss my work. Well, time flies. Look how tiny you are in this picture. Still a kid.
You look quite young yourself in that one. Ah, it's this one. I remember that. Lisa took it, didn't she?
Yep. Looks like her work, all right. Who else could have found just the right angle to make me look so unbelievably hideous?
And this one. Looks like we're both dozing off.
Oh, cheeky girl. Taking secret photos of us without our knowledge.
Is there something you'd like to say to me, Professor?
Like what? Like, these are good photos, aren't they? Hey, at moments like this, I hardly know where to begin. I can't pretend I'm a good person. But Moon had every reason to despise me. Well, so do you if you feel this.
Don't be ridiculous.
Is that not what you wanted me to say? Oh, I've dreamt of that place many times after leaving the desert. Sometimes I've dreamed that I was doing research with them again. And other times, I dream of the day they saved my life. Oh, it was one of the happiest times of my life. You've matured so much over the years, I know.
Since you're my professor, I should save you some face by not calling you out on all the non-answers you just gave. So, I will do the right thing and keep my mouth shut.
Good thinking. Take your own advice next time. Seriously, why bully an old man like me? I thought heroes were supposed to be gracious. Hey, wait, how did I not notice this one earlier?
Lisa strikes again. Just how many did she take?
Look how cute you were when you were little. I remember how well-mannered you were back then, too.
Yeah, and look how serious and professional you used to be.
Oh, I can't compete with you anymore. First you get better than me at the deadpan jokes, and now you're besting me at those little quips, too.
Don't say that. I still have a lot of respect for you.
Huh, that's more like it. Hey, what would you say to meeting up with Lisa again sometime?
I'd like that. Let's find a time and pay her a visit in Mondstadt.
All right, I'll add it to my schedule. Let's go next week. Wait, no. Next week is the tomato growing competition. I have got to beat Zaha Hadid.
Or you could find a real hobby, Professor.
Inactivity serves no purpose whatsoever. All the world holds dear is but a backdrop of constant motion. I stand before it, alone and unchanging.
Huh? Do you also see Navia and Clorinde over there? They look like they might have run into some kind of trouble. Let's go check out what's going on!
Antique's value is the joy of the beholder.
Still no dice?
Not at all. And I've asked pretty much everyone in the court of Fontaine already. Lynette's ears drooped as soon as she heard that we'd have to be out and about for days on end. And Fremine, he hid himself under his helmet as soon as he realized there'd be people around that he didn't know.
What about Chiori and Charlotte? I feel like both of them would be more than up to it.
I've asked them already, but they're both pretty busy right now. I just gave the members of the Spina a few days off, too, so I don't want to bother them either.
This is getting pretty difficult.
Navia, Clorinde, what's up?
Oh my. Well, if it isn't my dear partners. How are you all doing?
Huh. Navia?
Huh? Oh, you mean...
Yep, this is our chance.
Do you need our help with something?
Oh, precisely. My dear partners, we've got a huge problem right now that only you can solve.
Whoa, for real?
Absolutely. We've already exhausted all our other options.
Traveler, Paimon, would you join us and play Marechaussee Hunter Judgment Day?
Marechaussee what now?
It's a new game script by the Tabletop Troupe, a local roleplay adventure club.
Ever heard of the Tabletop Troupe? They put out games that allow you to participate in a story and roleplay characters with your friends. Oh, I've loved their stuff ever since I was a kid.
That sounds super interesting!
Clorinde and I are both veteran members of the club. Recently, someone came up with a new script and was looking for people to help playtest it for them. And when they asked, of course I couldn't refuse. I mean, come on! A brand new script? Nobody has ever played it before.
Generally speaking, scripts at that level of development have a lot of issues, but I think this one is pretty solid. The author obviously put a lot of work into the story, and the world building is also quite credible.
Whoa! I know I was the one that handed you the script, but some of us haven't read it yet. No spoilers, please.
Anyway, the script calls for a team of 4. Ah, yes. We're missing one final player right now.
So, you're saying you'll help us out? I knew I could count on you, partner.
kind of a package deal. Is that okay?
That's not a problem. I'll adjust the pace based on the actual number of players and ensure that everyone has a good time.
Well, Traveler, what do you think? Wanna play? Paimon will follow your lead.
Well, that solves our problem. You have our thanks.
Woohoo! I'll go grab the script manager from the club right away.
The script manager? Didn't you just say that you gave Clorinde the script?
The club introduced a completely new kind of gameplay for the script. In this iteration, the Game Master's version of the script is incomplete. The script manager provides the next part of the script only after players have completed the current list of objectives. On top of that, in order to increase player immersion, the club has created some of the story's sets and scenes in real life. We'll only know where we should go once the script manager reveals the starting location.
Wow, you're right. Whoever wrote this script really did put in a lot of work.
And it's got a real healthy amount of suspense, right? I mean, even the GM doesn't know how the story will end.
I look forward to experiencing it with you all.
Why don't you go meet up with the others first? They should all be waiting at Chioriya Boutique. I'll come over with the script manager as soon as I find them.
Sounds good. Remember to always watch where you're going, and don't rush.
Oh, you say that like I'm 6 years old or something. Let me think. What kind of character should I play this time?
I just hope you'll pick up some useful skills this time. Oh, and stop trying to persuade every animal you come across. Sorry to keep you waiting.
Ah, you're back! Huh? And you've got the Traveler and Paimon with you, too!
What a pleasant surprise. I assume you'll be joining us for the game, then?
Linny, Farina! Paimon didn't know you were playing, too! Are you also members of the tabletop troupe?
I'm more of a casual member, if anything. I haven't taken part in many formal club activities. Lynette Fremine and I play something similar at the Hotel Bouffe Tété sometimes, but I'm usually the GM. Still, I'm sure it'll be fun being a player for the first time. I'm looking forward to it.
Well, I'm not a member of the club at all. Clorinde simply woke me up first thing this morning, said there was a good script worth experiencing, and asked if I wanted in.
If you're interested, I can give you a referral. That should give you a 40% discount on membership fees.
I think I'll wait to see how this experience plays out first, especially when it comes to the quality of the script. If it's sufficiently fun, then I'll join.
Do you participate in a lot of tabletop troupe activities, Clorinde?
You could say that. She's actually one of the few senior game masters of the troupe.
Ah, right. I knew about that even when she was still my subordinate.
It's nothing. Really, just a small hobby of mine.
Wow. Paimon's so used to seeing you be all upstanding and intimidating as the champion duelist. It's kind of hard to imagine you role-playing with a bunch of friends.
Surely you jest. I would never intentionally make things difficult for my players. I maintain a clear boundary between my professional and personal lives. The me you see at court represents the law and order of Fontaine, but in my personal...
Well, you say that, but for all the time I've known you, I don't think I've ever seen you cry. I've seen you get angry, sure.
I was probably in work mode during those times.
Is that so? Well, in any case, I just feel like even in your personal life, you don't get emotional very often.
So you want to see me cry? That might be a little difficult. A show of anger, though, that might be something I could accomplish.
No, that's not what I meant.
I'm back! Here, allow me to introduce you to the script manager, Mr. Florian.
Pleasure to meet you all.
Hello! Wait, are you a champion duelist too, Mr. Florian?
Oh, no. This is just the costume provided by the club. I occasionally play a few of the roles in my scripts.
That sounds like a lot of work.
It's nothing. It's the least we can do to give the players a more immersive experience. Anyway, allow me to give you a brief introduction of the script. This script was adapted from the real history of the Marashose Hunters. You all will play the role of hunters from a bygone era and resolve a series of events unfolding in the capital.
Paimon's not super familiar with the history of the Marashose Hunters. Is that a problem?
Oh, no problem at all. I can give you a brief rundown. So, basically, Marashose Hunters were people who dedicated themselves to hunting monsters and protecting the city by using a special swordsmanship technique passed down over generations. Their story can be traced back to the ancient Remurian dynasty, as well as the first hunter, Cassiodor. But I'll leave the finer details for you to seek out and discover later.
Mm-hmm. And I'll provide additional commentary as the story progresses.
In that case, brave hunters, are you ready to set out on an unknown adventure?
Whoa, just one sentence and it's like we're in the story already!
Aha, I see many a determined gaze before me. Very well, head over to this location and begin your heroic journey.
So, as we follow the story, it leads us to specific scenes? Ooh, sounds pretty innovative.
It's the exact location of the scene, as well as the formal permission to use the venue. Huh, seems like they have everything prepared. Please check all your belongings, everyone, and make sure you haven't forgotten anything. Once you—
Sounds good! Hunter Squad?
They really have thought of everything. Even the Fatometer is here and ready to go for us. The Fatometer? What's that?
It's a card that's used to determine action success or failure. We'll need to use it when we try to use certain skills.
And what about all the dessert and tea? Is that for us as well?
That's what the message said.
Really? That's so nice. It feels just like a tea party with friends.
Those snacks have Paimon's name written all over them!
I think you might be more of a snack hunter than a Marashose hunter, Paimon.
Snack Hunter Paimon reported for duty! If there are delicious snacks to be found, Paimon will track down every last one!
The desserts are great, but I'm still looking forward to the story more than anything.
Very fair. Then, let us begin. First, please pick up the blank character cards in front of you. You can find an abbreviated— In this story, everyone is a Marashose hunter. To reflect the—
Ooh, nice!
As hunters, you have proficiency in swordsmanship and fighting by default, so there's no need to allocate any additional skill points to those areas.
Swordsmanship? So there's a fighting part to all of this?
Why don't you share a character card then? The Traveler will be the Marashose—
So, for the name.
Yep.
You can use your real name too if you want. I do that whenever I get too lazy to think of a new name.
Oh, so it would be like experiencing a different life. But
In that case, I think I'll continue to use the name Linny then.
Next up is the skill sheet. You have a limited amount of skill points that you can use to learn a number of skills. The more points you invest in a particular skill, the easier it will be to pass associated checks.
I'll take persuasion and investigation. Those are must-haves when it comes to missions like these.
oh, those skills sound like they'd be useful for gathering intelligence. Good idea, Navia. Just as expected of a veteran player.
So, should we also take those skills then?
Not necessarily. Since we're working together as a team, we could leave the negotiations to Navia and use our skill points to pick up other useful skills. For example, I think I'll take stealth and sleight of hand. That will—
Oh, interesting. I wasn't thinking about it like that. I suppose it's not so different from an acting troupe. Everyone has their own role to play. Let me see. I'll take arts and performance. I'm not quite sure what use they'll be, but I'm not as knowledgeable about the other skills, and I'm not too confident I'd be able to roleplay them well.
Well, that leaves us. What do you want to learn, Traveler? Ha! Gotta say, this suits you really well. Nothing boosts morale like good food. Oh, something that'll help you get a read on other people. So what do you think? Are you sure you want to learn these 2 skills?
Let's see. Oh, looks like...
You've all picked such classic skills. It's fine.
Why do I get the feeling she's getting ready to cause trouble?
For example, this one here. Summon.
Oh, I saw that one just now as well. The description says, this skill can be used under certain circumstances to summon characters or creatures that fit the script's world-building rules.
the script's world-building rules, huh?
Oh, that's not for us to worry about, my friend. Just learn the skills that interest you, and the GM will take care of the rest.
All right, you've convinced Paimon. Let's learn Summon, then. Paimon can't wait to see what...
Well, now that everyone's more or less finished creating their characters, since 2 of our players are doing this for the first time, though, would you like to play on easy mode or authentic?
What's the difference between the 2?
Well, in role-playing games, the story sometimes changes based on the decisions of the players and the results of the fatum. For example, if you fail a check, that means you cannot use the target skill in that scenario. A critical failure may even result in further negative consequences. If you choose to play in authentic mode, every time you elect to use a skill, you'll need to use the fatometer to see whether you succeed or if you choose easy mode instead.
Given that I'd like to focus on the story, I suppose I should pick easy mode. I'd feel bad if I brought the team down by failing my checks.
Huh? Oh, come on. Don't worry about that. RNG is the lifeblood of role, never knowing what you might have to overcome.
I'd rather be mentally prepared for what might happen.
All right, then I'll mark down Farina for easy mode. All her checks will be successful by default. As you...
What about you, dear partner? How would you like to play?
Are you sure?
Trust me, you'll see the beauty of RNG. Honestly, I don't think Clorinde would make things too difficult for us, no matter what.
No promises.
That wasn't super...
Well, anyway, enough talk. Let's get started.
Speaking of the story, why is the beginning scene on a beach?
Well, that's because, a long time ago, Back when human civilization was still in its infancy, powerful demons and evil sorcerers ruled over the land. They created a host of monsters and sent them to slaughter all humans in existence. Soon, a group of human rebels banded together. With their swords raised, they swore to brave the darkness, and in doing so, subdue each and every monster that sought their destruction. They became known as the Marachose Hunters. Sometime later, as a member of the Marachose Hunters, you receive a commission. Following the address provided on the message, you take a boat and arrive at this strange city. As you inhale, you can taste the slightly salty air of the docks as you begin to survey your surroundings. There aren't many people in the vicinity, but you do take note of a few others who, like you, seem to be sizing up this place. Your eyes meet, and you realize these people are fellow—
You're all Marachose hunters too, right? Allow me to introduce myself. The name's Navia, monster hunter by trade and helpful neighborhood businesswoman on the side. What say you to traveling together? We can help each other out on the road.
Okay, count me in. My name is Linny. I've been wandering since I was little and picked up a few less than legal tricks along the way. I was adopted by a Marachose hunter and later chose to follow in his footsteps.
Is this where you introduce your character to everyone? It sounds like...
My name is Farina, and, I grew up in a noble family. I always had a strong interest in performance and the arts. Even though I'm a Marachose hunter, what I really want is to be a performing artiste.
Hey, that's really cool. You can do it, Farina. That's exactly how it's done.
Paimon is Paimon, a good friend and companion to this Marachose hunter right here.
I've been studying the culinary arts since I was a child. I hope my delicious food can help boost people's spirits.
That's wonderful. I'll be looking forward to your cooking during our adventures together.
Well, if we're all here for the same commission, why don't we take some time to confirm what we need to do?
You open your envelopes at the same time. The message reads, "To the honorable and trustworthy Marachose hunters, our kingdom is currently facing a grave crisis. The lands outside the capital have been overtaken by monsters, and our people are being led astray by forces of wickedness. We beseech you, please help us resolve this crisis and return peace and stability to our home."
Huh. The layout of this city looks super familiar. It kinda reminds Paimon of Mondstadt!
The scriptwriter must have used a real-world city as a reference when coming up with the map.
As experienced hunters, the layout of the city reminds you of places once traveled. You recall the sight of tree, yet, as you regard the city in front of you, it appears to be little more than an empty shell. Its hollow—
I carefully read every line of the letter and turn my attention to the signatures at the bottom. Who issued this commission to us?
You see a long string of unfamiliar names. It would seem that many of the
In that case,
Why don't we take a walk around the city and see if we can learn anything from the local residents?
Oh, good idea. We might be able to get some leads on the monsters and bad guys we're after.
You look up and see a tavern nearby. It appears to be open for the day.
Why don't we go check out that tavern? If the novels I've read are any...
As you approach the tavern, you find a plainly dressed woman standing nearby. She appears to be rather troubled about something.
Greetings, friend. Lovely weather we're having today, don't you think?
Oh, hello. I suppose you're right. The weather today is quite lovely.
It seems like every character included in the script has a certain amount of useful information to offer.
Oh, come now, don't be sad. Life is all about...
I don't think that's the kind of question...
Nothing turns a frown upside down like good food. How about some macarons? I could make you some.
You didn't even take cooking as one of your skill proficiencies.
That's not necessary, miss. Excuse me for saying this, but you don't really look like a chef. Besides, I'm not really a fan.
So you're someone who barely smiles and doesn't like sweets. You're really starting to remind me of this one friend of mine. Hey! Did she just... me?
Clorinde must have broke character for a second.
This isn't getting us anywhere.
The results of insight checks aren't disclosed to the players, so I'll be the one consulting the phaetometer. You recall all the lessons you've learned in your time and begin to carefully observe the woman's mannerisms. You notice that when she's quiet, she has an empty look in her eyes, as if her thoughts have drifted to a place far, far away. So you noticed... That's... A horde of monsters suddenly appeared near the capital...
Do you remember when those monsters appeared?
I'm not completely sure.
Do you know where he was sent?
It all happened so fast. When we...
You have our thanks, friend. We'll find and...
Oh, thank you.
Don't worry. We'll find him. Just try to remain we don't always get to choose what happens to us. But we do get to choose the little things like...
You bid farewell to the woman and continue your journey further into the city. As you venture further into the city, the streets appear largely empty. An elderly woman walks past. You see her shake her head as she puts away her wrinkled wallet. A nearby merchant folds his arms and gives you a disdainful look. You get the impression that he's someone who has long gotten used to the sight before him.
Although he doesn't seem very... friendly, merchants are usually a good source of information, right?
Pardon me, sir. I'd like to ask a question.
That depends. How much are you willing to pay?
How about this much?
What do you take me for? Some lowly beggar?
Surely an onion can't be that expensive, right?
What do you know? War is nearly upon us. Everything costs several times what it did before. If you're not gonna buy anything, then scram.
Whoa, what a nasty guy. Maybe we shouldn't even bother talking to him.
But he still might have information we need. Traveler, can you think of something?
Okay, while everyone is talking, I secretly use my magic props to summon a bottle of wine without the merchant noticing. We meant no offense, sir. Here, allow me to offer you this bottle of vintage wine, made only from the finest grapes. I'll just leave it here. Please, enjoy it at your leisure. Ah, I should mention that this wine is the perfect accompaniment to a meal. I'd suggest enjoying it with dinner.
All right. Go on and ask. What do you want to know?
Do you have any information on the monsters or the crisis that has overtaken the kingdom?
Crisis. If you ask me, there's a crisis everywhere you... Those monsters are camped outside the city, and they've been destroying all our trade. We have limited reserves within the city, so if this continues...
Wait, you're saying no one has put a plan in place to distribute supplies or
We could all starve, and those nobles and... Who knows? Maybe they've been in cahoots with the...
That is concerning. Thank you, sir. We won't take up...
Hey, why did you leave in such a hurry?
Well, you see, that bottle of wine was just a cardboard prop.
Should we try to go somewhere with more people?
Oh, how about the city square? Follow me.
Before you lies the city's central square. You see a man with a slightly anxious look on his face, pacing back and forth, his head hanging low. He doesn't seem to notice your approach. Still immersed in his own thoughts, he shakes his head and lets out a long sigh.
This guy seems promising enough. Maybe I can get some information out of him. Hello, sir. Is there anything I can do to help?
Wait. Oh, dear goodness, you're...
You recognize us? Ah.
Yes, yes! Oh, I didn't expect you to actually come. Oh, what great news! The city...
What happened here?
Alas, we once lived comfortable, carefree lives. However, monsters have once again surrounded the city. Perhaps the seal that kept them at bay has lost its power. Or perhaps...
Are there not enough soldiers to drive them out?
It's not a question of numbers. Most people my age have never even seen one of the monsters, much less been trained to fight against them. When I was a child, though, to be perfectly honest...
Well, you can rest easy, friend. The righteous and for...
The man is touched by your determination and resolve. His eyes begin to well.
Still, if we are going to hunt the monsters, we need to know where to find them. Can you give us any leads?
All I know is that the area outside the city is dangerous. I'm afraid I can't point you... Oh, although, if you leave the capital through the main gate and follow the road, you should run into a group of guards. They might know more about where to find the monsters.
I see. We'll go look for them then.
All right, be careful. Oh, and one last thing. The monsters outside the city are just part of the problem. There are evil sorcerers inside the city as well, so be on your guard. They're actively working with the monsters, and have corrupted the court ministers with malicious magic. They're the reason why, even inside the city, everything has been a giant mess. Even one of our kindest ministers has turned into a boorish and unreasonable figure, interested in nothing but enacting laws that exploit the people.
Talk about being stuck between a rock and a hard place.
I feel bad for him. Maybe we should try to cheer him up?
Huh? Like, now? Is this really the right time?
I appreciate your kindness, but for now, it's more important to focus on the Christ. Brave hunters, I leave the future of this kingdom to you.
if I understood correctly, there are currently 2 problems in the kingdom that need solving, right?
Exactly. We need to defeat the monsters outside the city and take down the evil sorcerer stirring up trouble from within.
But which problem should we tackle first?
Well, this seems like a good moment for a break. Take some time and discuss what you want to do. Let me know.
I really didn't expect the people in the city to keep us at arm's length like that. I totally thought the hunters would be treated like heroes.
Well, Clorinde said the script took cues from the real history of Fontaine, right? Maybe the real-life Marushosei hunters were also treated like that.
I wouldn't say it's a perfect representation of history, but there are definitely some similarities.
Sure. As long as it doesn't spoil anything in the script. You've brought up bits and pieces of the hunter's history before, but...
Paimon wants to know too! The hunters were super powerful, right? Were they all from a special line of supernatural beings or something? Kind of like the yokai in Inazuma?
No. All Marashosei hunters were ordinary mortal fighters. The only thing that set them apart were the special sword techniques passed down.
Huh? So you mean anyone could become a Marashosei hunter?
In theory, yes. All you would need to do is survive the rigorous training and master the swordsmanship. Still, most people dropped out at the early stages, and others called it quits the minute they saw a monster in person. To become a hunter, you must be strong in both body.
What kind of monsters did the hunters fight exactly? Oh, and the evil sorcerer the script mentions.
The land of Fontaine once played host to an ancient dynasty known as Remuria. After that dynasty fell, monsters began to appear, intent on obstructing humans from establishing a new social order. One of the ancient sorcerers of Remuria used his power to assemble a formidable army of golems. He sought to use that force to establish himself as king.
Now wait a second. Don't tell me that guy was the inspiration for the evil sorcerer in the script. We still haven't found any in-game information.
Well, I wasn't planning on going into anything you might be able to find out in the game. But if you want me to talk about something else, then... How about Casiodor, the Golden Hunter? Or Egeria, the ex-Hydro Archon?
Wait, but those people are all from a super long time ago. Where did you learn all this, Clorinde?
From my master.
Huh. By master, you mean Miss Petronia?
Is someone you know?
Absolutely. Miss Petronia and my father were good friends. Back in the day, she would often bring Clorinde over to play, but then...
Let's not get off topic. Anyway, back to what I was saying. Responding to Egeria's call, a number of warriors followed Casiodor into battle against the monsters. This group of warriors, under Casiodor's leadership, became known as the Marashosei Hunters. Yet, as Fontaine entered an era of peace, their work gradually became obsolete. The Marashosei Phantom, originally an association made up of hunters, eventually came to be predominantly comprised of Melusines.
Ah, I see. That explains why most of the people in the script have forgotten the hunters or think of them as nothing more than a legend.
Is that really a bad thing, though? It can get tough always being the one shouldering everyone's expectations.
Depends on who you ask, I suppose. If the name of the organization no longer commands respect, investigative work is bound...
Speaking of investigations, which problem should we tackle first?
I vote monsters. That's the main duty of the hunters, right? We can come back to the sorcerer later.
Well said, Miss Farina. Plus, if the sorcerers really are the masterminds behind this whole thing, defeating the monsters could give us some clues on their intentions as well.
What about you, partner? What do you think? It's decided then.
All right. After some discussion, you decide to turn around and head out of the city. You there! Outsiders, halt!
Who's there?
An armored man approaches you. He has a tall, muscular build and a determined expression in his eyes. Just one look, and you can tell he's fought in his fair share of battles. Although he's trying his best to conceal his current state, his uneven gait and the sweat dripping down his forehead make it obvious that he's been wounded and is in serious pain. I'm the captain of the guard. I saw you sneaking around the city earlier, so I'll only ask this once. State your purpose, or it's off to the dungeons for the lot of you.
Wow, it's been a while since someone's been this suspicious of us.
I said talk, not whisper between yourselves.
Have you ever heard of the Marchese Hunters?
Marachose hunters? Ha! That fairy tale, you mean? What, you expect me to believe you're one of them?
Sir, we were indeed in the city earlier, but our purpose was only to gather information on the monsters. We're here to help the city and all the people within it. Your guards are still fighting the monsters as we speak. They could be seriously wounded and in grave need of support. You need all the help you can get.
The man regards you with doubt and concern. After a period of inner struggle, he lets out a long sigh and informs you of the locations where the monsters have appeared. Those monsters aren't easy to deal with, but if you insist on going, I won't stop you either. I just hope all the guards will be able to come back to their families alive. I wish you the best of luck.
Based on what the captain said, the monster should be right up ahead. Let's go. Hopefully we're not too late.
As you approach the battlefield, you see numerous people lying by the side of the road. They appear to be dressed like guards. Their faces are filled with desperation and terror. Some are screaming and cursing in vain, as if still trying to banish the monstrosities they saw from their minds. A few of the wounded look up at you in shock and disbelief. Quick, leave this place. Turn around and don't look back, they yell.
This is the place he mentioned, right?
You see broken iron swords scattered all around you, and downed trees riddled with terrifying claw marks. All the signs point to one thing. A truly devastating battle just took place here.
Be on your guard, everyone. The monsters might still be around.
Before you can finish your sentence, you hear rustling sounds from the surrounding bushes. The monsters have emerged. They close in on you without fear. You get the impression that, in their bloodthirsty eyes, you're just another meal for them to devour. Your battle round begins now. The next battle round begins now.
Let the world collide! Prepare to be blown away!
Step right up.
The monsters let out a terrifying roar of anger and resentment before dissipating into thin air.
Ugh, thank goodness it's over.
We're lucky the Marashose Hunter class came with all those preset skill points. Otherwise, we would have been in some real trouble.
I never knew the Fatometer even determines the amount of damage you inflict. If you get unlucky, isn't...
That's part of the fun. The uncertainty of fate is what gives these games their appeal.
Just as you begin to celebrate your victory, a suspicious lump on the ground catches your attention.
A suspicious lump? Wait, could it be the thing that appears after every battle?
I walk up to it, crouch down, and begin to carefully examine it. I've still got my right glove on, so it should be fine for me to touch it, right?
As you investigate the mound, you discover that the exposed portion appears to be made of wood. It was previously obscured by the large form of the monsters. With the monsters gone, the small protrusion now awaits your discovery, poking out of the ground like a shy flower bud.
Whoa, it's a treasure chest!
With everyone's help, you successfully excavate the wooden chest from the ground. Even without opening it, you can tell from the mora and jewels scattered around the chest that it must contain quite the fortune.
Makes sense! We worked hard for this. Let's open it and we can share what's inside!
I can understand your excitement, Paimon, but think about it. Doesn't it seem like there are people out there who need...
Yeah. Think about all the people suffering in the capital. Or all those guards who got hurt fighting the monsters. Wouldn't it be better?
Wait, is that how it works? Paimon thought since we were the ones to dig it up, we could just take it from...
Well, let's put it this way. Any decision you make during a role-playing game can impact the future course of the story.
But would the people really believe us? It's hard enough for us to prove we're Marashose hunters. What if they think we procured the treasure illegally? They might get even more suspicious of us.
That's definitely something we should consider. Maybe we can come up with an explanation in advance.
Well, if donating it could cause that much trouble, why don't we use it to buy some gear and fill up on good food? Then we'll be ready to fight even more bad guys.
Looks like you're facing a difficult choice once again. Well, it's getting late. Why don't we call it a day for now?
Wow, where did the time go?
I'm not sure if it's because I'm having so much fun with you all, or because the story is particularly enticing, but I feel like I could almost keep going.
Here, here. Ooh, how about we play through the night?
I'm not sure I'll have enough energy for that.
Yeah, that won't work for me either. Lynette will give me an earful if I get home too late.
I understand how you feel, Navia, but we have to change venues for the next part of the story anyway.
Huh? Another location?
Mm-hmm. There's a special note for the GM at the end of this section that says to proceed to an indoor set for the next part of the script.
Whoa, they really pulled out all the stops for this new script.
Well, even if we end the game for the day, we can still stay a little longer and hear Clorinde finish her story, right? Paimon wants to hear more about the history of the hunters.
Something tells me you just want to finish the free desserts before we break for the day.
That's just a coincidence, okay? Besides, to Paimon, not finishing free food feels even worse than having to buy her own. And anyway, Paimon really does want to hear more about Clorinde's master.
Well...
It's nothing. I appreciate the concern, but it's all in the past. It won't do any harm. My earliest memories are of living with Master. According to her, she saved me from certain people of ill repute. My birth parents had left me behind some time before that.
What a heavy beginning for a life story.
Master was a fascinating individual, if inexperienced in the ways of raising children. My first ever toy was a short sword. Although I suppose it wasn't so much a toy as something Master removed from her waist and handed to a noisy child in need of distraction.
Oh wait, so she handed an actual sword to a child? Isn't that dangerous? Did you hurt yourself?
Of course I did. I cut my palm and bled quite a lot. But Master was not concerned. She just stood there and casually lectured me about it. See, that's what you get for not holding the sword properly, she told me. She then crouched down next to me and said, "Give me your hand. I'll teach you to bandage this wound. After that, it's time to learn how to truly hold a blade."
Excuse me for asking this, Clorinde, but how old were you exactly when all this happened?
Probably around, 3, give or take.
3? Isn't that when most kids are still struggling to hold a fork?
As I said, Master was rather inexperienced in the ways of raising children. She believed trial and error was the best way to teach a child what they're capable of.
I'm not so sure this is a question of experience.
I didn't see anything wrong with her ways at the time. And anyway, children don't get to choose how they're raised. Oh, she did bring me back a pet from Liyue once. It was a Geovishap hatchling.
A Geovishap hatchling? For a pet? That seems even more dangerous!
What she said was this: make sure to get along, you two. If you really can't agree on something, just settle it with a fight. Whoever loses is the real pet.
And how old were you when this happened?
5.
Well, did you win?
No, I lost.
So, you're saying you actually became the Geovishap's pet?
Yes, but only for a week. By the end of that week, I defeated it in combat, and we've shared a cordial relationship ever since.
That really doesn't sound like the kind of childhood someone should have.
Later on, I gradually understood that Master most likely didn't know any other way to raise a child. She was a marechaussee hunter, but I never heard her bring up her own parents. Thanks to her, I learned how to navigate the forest by the age of 6, and could hunt monsters in the wild by myself the year after that. Even though the training she subjected me to was strict, she always made sure to take me traveling when she had the time. We met many of her friends during those days. That was also how I met Mr. Callis and his family.
I still remember the first time we met. You were too scared to join our picnic and hid behind Ms. Petronia the whole time.
I still hadn't really met many children my age at that time, so I didn't know how to interact with others.
After that, though, you started coming over a lot. You loved challenging people to shooting competitions, remember? I don't think many members of the Spina ever beat you in one of those.
I had a lot of fun during those days.
I enjoyed them too. Oh, do you remember that one time we went exploring around the Spina together? We overheard Papa call your master Fontaine's Protector of Justice. We tried to pretend like we never heard anything, but you nearly let it slip that one time.
Protector of Justice. Oh, wait, you mean that vigilante hero from 20 years ago? The one who is always active at night?
Yep, that would be her. She often would put on a black cloak and go out at night. I never knew where she went or what she was doing. Until, like Navia said, we overheard the truth from Mr. Callis that night.
20 years ago, huh? I still remember the guards leaving all kinds of witness reports about her on Nervalette's desk.
My apologies.
Oh, there's no need to apologize. You had nothing to do with it. And anyway, everything she did was for a good cause. Although, calling herself the Protector of Order was a bit much. Especially when she deliberately operated outside the law.
Huh? When did the Protector of Justice become the Protector of Order?
Oh, she had a bunch of code names. I heard she would just come up with a name on the spot whenever she was asked. Later on, she probably got sick of answering those questions and decided...
That sounds like her, all right. I bet she...
Well, she certainly sounds like a...
It's true. I always wanted to become like her. Someone powerful.
But...
She suddenly disappeared the night I turned 10 years old.
Disappeared? What happened?
I have no idea. She didn't even leave a note. That night, I was celebrating my birthday at Navia's house. But Master never came to pick me up. When I returned home on my own, when she still didn't appear after a few days, I went to Mr. Callis's house to ask about her whereabouts.
Papa probably didn't know either. I know he sent a few people to investigate the matter in secret, but they never found any credible leads.
Don't worry, I understand. To be perfectly honest, given Master's personality and way of doing things, it all made a lot of sense. If I had just like how, when a litter of kittens reaches a certain age...
Were you upset, Clorinde?
I was at first, but not anymore. I don't believe Master would...
Well, despite everything, you still managed to follow in her footsteps and become the greatest champion duelist in all of Fontaine. You're practically a living symbol of law and justice.
I suspect my position would be far too by the books for her. Master always did whatever she pleased. But you're right. I suppose I do take after her in some ways.
Who knew Clorinde had such an interesting past? I never had the chance to ask her about it before. And I wonder... if Clorinde's master were the champion duelist back then... would that duel against Mr. Callis have gone differently? Oh no. Judging by the atmosphere, Clorinde and Navia are probably thinking something similar. The mood just got super awkward all of a sudden.
Well, anyway... would you look at the time? It's getting...
I had a great time today, Miss Clorinde. Thank you for being our GM.
Anytime.
The script was good, but I've got to say, your childhood stories were even better. Hey, you should tell us more about that fight against the Geo-Bishop sometime. Maybe your master was onto something.
What does she mean, onto something? I certainly don't know any 5-year-olds who want to fight a bishop in their spare time. Guess I'll head back as well. I need to save my energy if I want to continue enjoying the story tomorrow.
You're that excited to hear about my fight with the bishop?
I was talking about the script.
Let's go meet up with the group! Paimon's really looking forward to today's
Looks like everyone's here. Now, before we begin, why don't we finish where we left off yesterday? There was an important decision to be made, yes? I'll pour everyone a cup of tea.
Is that really the most important part, though, Clorinde? Paimon's more concerned about our current surroundings. Heavy walls, cold railings, dim lights. This is obviously supposed to be a prison.
I admire the work put into the set. Still, it's obvious the scriptwriter has never paid a visit to the fortress of Meripede.
So the set is going to be a part of the script?
Unfortunately, that is something I can neither confirm nor deny.
Anyone think Clorinde's smile is starting to look kinda scary?
Well, whatever happens, we'll just have to push on. But first, we should really figure out what to do with this treasure. If we're worried about arousing suspicion because of our identity, why don't we give ourselves a different name, just like Clorinde's master did?
Yeah, it might be better to keep a low profile. As long as we're helping people, it doesn't matter who we are or what we're called.
Staring at me won't get you anywhere. Or did you want some more tea?
Oh, Paimon's good. Thanks. Why aren't you saying anything, Navia? Wait, what's that next to you?
Oh, this is the short sword Clorinde mentioned last night. I found it.
Huh. I'm surprised you managed to track it down after all this time.
Well, I made sure to take good care of it, considering the circumstances in which you gave it to me. Of course I had to keep it safe. Anyway, where were we? Oh, right. I was just thinking about all the potential ways for us to break out of prison. We could dig a tunnel, or try to bribe the guards.
Wait, we haven't been thrown into prison yet, have we?
Well, it's only a matter of time. It pays to be prepared. Just like how you should always have an umbrella on hand, even when it's sunny.
Alright, Paimon's made up her mind. Let's just give the treasure away. Paimon may have wanted to keep it, but if it's going to land us in prison somehow, Paimon will be too upset to enjoy her snacks.
So, you reached an agreement? All right then, we can continue with the story.
Oh, and we'll collect all the scattered pieces of treasure on the ground as well.
All right. You collect the treasure and make your way back to the capital with your bag of loot in hand. The city is still shrouded in a gloomy, oppressive atmosphere, but your spirits are surprisingly high. In places where sunlight struggles to reach, you generously share your wealth with the children, the elderly, and the poor in urgent need of help.
Thank you, kind soul.
The elderly woman's look of gratitude follows you as you walk away, her eyes never leaving your back until you move entirely out of sight.
She's probably trying to tell us to speed this up. We need to hurry up so we can address the sorcerer problem.
Should we go find that man again at the square? He seemed like a pretty responsible guy. I'm sure he knows the people here far better than us.
Oh, good idea!
Just as you start to make way to the square, intent on finding the man again, there's a voice.
Please wait, distinguished guests.
Several strange guards suddenly call out to you. They run forward to meet you and proceed to politely pay their respects.
Greetings, gentlemen. Are we being invited for afternoon tea?
Surely you jest, my lady. That would not be our place. It is His Excellency the King who requests to meet with you. Please come with us.
Do you think this could be a trap?
Well, we have to investigate the court at some point, right? Meeting the king himself would be a fantastic opportunity to do that.
I say we go for it. If something happens, we'll just turn the whole place upside down.
That sounds a little intense.
After a quick discussion, you nod to the guards and agree to follow. They lead you all the way to the audience hall of the palace. Gilded tables line both sides of the hall. The space itself is adorned with all manner of expensive antiques, glass shelves, and silver candlesticks. The items appear quite ordinary in size and dimension, yet their presence somehow makes the emptiness of the hall feel even more surreal and ominous.
Wow, it's so luxurious!
The elderly king, clad in a magnificent robe, sits upon the deep crimson throne before you. He wears above his head a majestic crown, with a gemstone the size of a bird's egg set right at the very front. As you observe it, you see a complex pattern of light reflect off its surface.
Ahem! They're here, Your Majesty.
A man dressed in dark clothes, likely a minister, shields his mouth with his hands and bends down to whisper a few words to the king. After a moment, he lowers his hands and stands back up. His gaze shifts to fixate on your group, but he does not move from his place at the king's side.
The king does not appear entirely aware of his surroundings. The man by his side, though. We should keep a close eye on him.
The king remains still and says nothing. The minister is the one who speaks.
Esteemed guests, allow me to thank you for coming to our faraway kingdom. Unfortunately, His Majesty the King finds himself quite exhausted from work. So please allow me, his Prime Minister, to welcome you in his stead. I've heard tell that your group, the Marechaussee Hunters, used your exceptional ability with the sword to repel the monsters near the capital. Such a great deed deserves to be rewarded. However, seeing that I was not fortunate enough to observe such a feat with my own eyes, you'll forgive me for seeking to verify the truth by speaking to you myself.
Well, we've got nothing to hide. You brought us here to talk, right? So we'll just explain what happened. The golem's blades were so powerful, they could cut down trees in a single swipe! It took a lot of effort to defeat them, even for trained swordsmen like us. Well, that was enough details, right? Believe us now?
Your account does indeed match those of the survivors. Since you were the ones who defeated the monsters, that must mean you are also in possession of the treasure they stole?
Well, we did take the treasure, but...
How did he know about the treasure?
Then I must ask that you return it at once. It belongs to the kingdom.
Wait, but didn't you just say that our great deed deserved a reward? Shouldn't the treasure be considered a part of that?
Yes, that was indeed what I said. But you seem to have forgotten a very important distinction. Only that which is freely given by the king can be considered a reward. Taking the rightful wealth of a kingdom without said permission, on the other hand, is a crime.
But that's completely unreasonable.
Yeah, that makes no sense! If it weren't for us, the treasure would still be buried underground somewhere!
Maybe so, yet the fact remains. You tried to dispose of the treasure without reporting it to the court and without receiving permission, yes? What, no answer? Surely you're not insinuating that you, a group of legendary marechaussee hunters, sought to take the treasure for yourselves?
Well, what about the king? Is he just gonna let this guy talk for him the whole time?
Clad in his magnificent robe, the king remains seated, with his hands resting on either side of the throne. His posture is rigid and unmoving. He stares forward with an empty look in his eyes, completely unmoved by the events before him.
From the look of things, could the Prime Minister be the evil sorcerer? Or could both the King and the Prime Minister have fallen under the evil sorcerer's control?
I would like to observe the number of guards stationed in the hall.
The guards in the palace appear fully armed, their expressions solemn. Sensing the tense atmosphere in the room, they stand at the ready, each with a hand placed upon the hilt of their sword, as if
Well, there goes my plan to turn the whole place upside down, I guess.
It appears we've been visited by nothing more than a group of ill-intentioned imposters. What a pity. Guards, take them away and throw them in the dungeons. Before I decide your fate, however, I must first determine whether you have any accomplices outside the court.
Can't we try to slip away? Or maybe start some kind...
But if we try... Don't worry. At least we figured out who's behind all this. Let's just play it by ear.
Thanks, you guys.
You allow yourself to be led away by guards surrounding you on both sides. It's only when you begin to feel drops of water falling from the dungeon ceiling and smell the stench of death and decay all around you that you finally realize you've stepped into a completely different world. Stay here, and don't try anything funny. The guards lock the cell door and leave without looking back.
Wait, sir!
Your voice echoes through the dark hall, but the only response you receive is the sound of water dripping from the ceiling.
No! What should we do now?
Carve out a new path of fate with our own two hands, of course. I draw my weapon.
You reach toward your waist, but find nothing there. You now recall that your weapons were confiscated before the guards locked you in the cell. The bag of treasure along with them.
What about that knife I hid in my boot?
When did you hide it in there?
when I was thinking about digging a tunnel.
Rejected. You failed to inform the GM of this course of action. Moreover, the guards would have conducted a thorough search before throwing you in prison.
And the keys to the cell aren't anywhere to be seen?
Correct. You don't even feel a lock hole on the cell door.
Oh, well, there goes all our plans.
Indeed.
Huh? Why are you the one saying indeed?
Because that statement holds true for me as well. This is where the script ends.
What? But that's a terrible ending!
Generally speaking, this should be the point where the scriptwriter gives the players some kind of hint, or gives the GM some kind of code for how to move forward.
I mean, maybe they just really wanted us to be immersed in the feeling of being in prison? Like, they'll only show us the way out once we've grown truly and utterly desperate?
That is a possibility.
If only there were desserts and tea in real prison. Oh, wait, guess that's kind of how the Fortress of Meripede works if you're lucky.
Oh, before I forget, Navia, the short sword you had with you earlier. I took a closer look, and the craftsmanship doesn't appear to resemble anything from this era. If I remember correctly, that style was last in vogue several hundred years ago.
Wait, Clorinde said that sword used to belong to her master, right? Does that mean her master has been alive that long?
I doubt it. The way she went about things often made her seem childish more than anything. I'd say the sword was most likely an heirloom passed down over time.
Hang on. A precious heirloom passed down to you by your master. And you gave it to me just like that? You weren't worried I might lose it?
Master left many things to me when she disappeared. There was the sword, an old key, and a good amount of junk she probably just didn't want to take with her. I gave you the sword back then, because I didn't want our friendship to end.
Wait, when did this happen exactly?
After the duel. Between Mr. Callis and myself.
Before that, Clorinde would have meals with us and even stay over at the Spina some days. She was on great terms with Papa as well. After the duel, though, there was a period of time where we simply didn't know how to face each other. She entrusted this sword to me, and never came back. We were both sad, and conflicted, and totally overthinking everything as a result. Whenever I looked at this sword, I couldn't help but wonder if Miss Petronia had never introduced us to each other at that picnic. Maybe part of the sadness I was feeling could have been avoided. Back then, it felt like I hadn't just lost a father, but a close friend as well.
No one can change the past. The most important thing is that you two found your way back to each other and can enjoy things like this together.
Yep, you're right.
I'm sorry, you two. I didn't mean to bring up any sad memories.
Think nothing of it. No one here is at fault.
Looks like the next part of our script is here.
Perfect timing. The situation was really starting to get desperate. And not just because of the prison thing.
From Clorinde's face, I really can't tell if it's good news or bad news.
Water continues to drip from the ceiling. In this lightless dungeon, you lack a reliable way to tell how much time has passed. Eventually, you get used to the unpleasant odor of straw, mold, and rust, and find yourselves alternating between fits of drowsiness and despair. Suddenly,
You hear footsteps outside the door.
Heads up, everyone. Someone's coming.
Gather close, everyone, and keep your voice down.
Who are you?
I work as a guard in these dungeons, but my true identity is the same as your own. I'm also a Marashose hunter.
Huh?
Shh. I've already sent away the other guards, but if we make too much noise...
I understand, but how can we be sure we can trust you?
The king has issued a formal decree. In light of the irrefutable proof of your crime, you're to be executed before tomorrow's sunrise. If you want to escape, it has to be now.
Executed? We barely did anything!
Monsters appearing at the same location as the treasure. Could this entire thing have been a trap?
There will be time for speculation once we're out of here. As for my identity, I have no way to prove that to you just yet. Infiltrating the capital was difficult, and finding a chance to speak with you has taken a lot out of me. I could go on, but I think we can all agree that now is not the time for details.
Have you seen our weapons anywhere, sir?
Don't worry, I brought them with me. They're just behind the door. Still, these weapons alone won't be enough to defeat the true enemy behind the scenes. His faction is too powerful. The guards are all under his control, and he's even stationed a number of golems in various rooms throughout the palace. To defeat him, you must find a secret vault. It is said that within that vault, the Marashose hunters of the past left behind a treasure with the power to defeat the sorcerer.
You're not coming with us?
No, I'll remain in the dungeons to deal with the guards. I'll try my best to distract them so they don't go after you. As long as my identity is not revealed, I'll be able to aid you when the final battle comes.
In that case, please stay safe.
Thank you for your concern. I will do my utmost. As for the location of the vault, here, this map should lead you there.
Got it.
All right, once I open the door, remember to stick close and refrain from making any noise. I'll lead you out of here as quickly as possible. You now have the chance to restore the honor and legacy of the Marashose hunters. So please, get out there and reclaim what's ours. And be sure to exercise caution.
With the help of the guard, you successfully escape the dungeons. Your sense of despair and anxiety both seem to fade as you continue your quest.
Wait, we didn't get to use our skills at all while we were in prison. Who knows when we're gonna get the chance to use that cool summon spell?
That is a pity, but we can only continue to move forward.
I see everything.
Illusion shattered! Shine down!
Everyone hold hands.
Illusion shattered! Absurd! Insolent! This should be the place marked on the map.
This bit of rock certainly looks suspicious.
Well, I'd say an investigation's in order then. Plus, if all else fails, we can just blow it up.
Wow, you really meant that!
Before you lies a serene stretch of open water, its surface shimmering a brilliant shade.
Well, guess this means it's time for a swim!
What's the matter?
It's nothing. As you step into the cave, you find yourself in an eerily quiet space.
Wow, this must be where the treasure is hidden!
But this door is blocking our way in. It almost looks like it's been here for quite some time. I've got to hand it to the tabletop troupe. They really went all out with the props.
Huh. What have we got down here? A kind of mechanism connected to the door?
A pattern on a stone door. That's something Master mentioned before.
Is something wrong, Clorinde?
After a long, difficult journey, you finally arrive at the location indicated by your map. It appears to be an ancient site of some sort, where your surroundings are exceedingly quiet and serene, as if the secret that slumbers here has never once been disturbed. If you...
that description makes Paimon feel kinda bad for disturbing this place.
We're doing this for the sake of the people, to free them from the evil sorcerer. I say it's time for this treasure to once again see the light of day.
Linny's right. We need to keep going. The next part of the story requires us to solve the puzzle, right? Let's start
Yes. Something feels off about all this. Guess I'll just have to improvise.
I found something!
Found something here, too.
Same here. It worked!
Something just appeared. Some kind of new mechanism, maybe?
By solving the puzzles, you prove yourselves worthy of inheriting the secrets of the past. At the end of each puzzle, you're rewarded with...
With?
a key.
must be the key to the big door.
Huh? This is one of the Marechaussee Hunter keys. It is said that 4 keys in total are required to form the final, complete... Huh? You hear a few strange noises. Suddenly, all the torches in the ruin go out at once.
Huh? What's going on? Did we fall into another trap?
For the sake of immersion, please close your eyes, everyone. Without the torches, the space is now completely dark, and you cannot see anything.
But Paimon can still see a little bit over here. Oh, right, sorry.
Suddenly, you hear the sound of footsteps pierce through the darkness.
There's someone else here? Oh, this is so unsettling. I can't see anything.
I've been discovered then?
Wait,
You recognize the voice as belonging to the guard who led you to this place. It appears he now covets the treasure for himself.
Oh, so this is just part of the script. Then I can probably relax. Well, if we can't see anything, that means we can't fight to the fullest of our abilities. Should we retreat for now?
Judging by the way he's holding his sword, he must be a real Marechaussee Hunter. But this isn't part of the script.
Retreat? That's not the Hunter way. If it's dark for us...
Your choice is noted. Please keep your eyes closed until I tell you the torches have been...
You got it!
Well then.
I'd like to try to hit him with my sword.
Your strike is successful.
Is he still standing? Goodness, he sure has a lot.
Is it over? Can we open our eyes now?
The enemy is strong and relentless, but the battle is nearing its end. The torches have not been relit.
What about now?
Final strike. Ha!
Well, did we get him? Clorinde?
Warm fire flickers across the walls once more. Your vision is now clear. In an impressive display of courage, the 4 of you successfully defeat the uninvited guest. That look in his eyes. It's like he became an entirely different person as soon as I defeated him.
Huh? Mr. Florian? Oh, wait. We're supposed to be role-playing. I should stay in character. Speak your name, guard. Why did you lead us here just to betray us? Is this treasure really more important to you than bringing peace to the kingdom?
What kingdom? What peace? Those were nothing but lies! I, Florian, am a true Marechaussee Hunter, descended from...
So he's also using his real name. Or, wait, was that...
Then I'm even more confused. If you truly are a Marechaussee Hunter, shouldn't you want to help us just like you...
What do you know? In this day and age, there's no glory to be had as a Marechaussee Hunter.
What's that supposed to mean?
My skills were passed down to me by my father. We lived a life of obscurity in the remote wilderness. And what did he get in return? A life of poverty and pain. In a world that forgot all about him. When he died, not a single person came to mourn his passing. The Marechaussee Hunters were the ones who saved this city. We're heroes! We deserved more recognition and respect.
Is he talking about how no one in the capital seems to remember the Hunters and their legacy? I didn't expect the script to contain this level of social criticism.
So that's why you want to take the treasure for yourself? You feel like you're owed fame and wealth?
If you already knew where the treasure was located, why didn't you just come down here and take it?
Because I still need...
Only a true Marashose hunter is capable of passing through this final door. As someone who sought to hurt others for his own gain, Florian...
Okay, but what is this treasure anyway? We've got all the keys, right? So can we just go in and take a look?
You're sure you want to go in?
We've been talking about it for so long. Of course we want to see what's inside.
And we've already defeated Florian, right? So he...
Watch yourself.
Then let's open the door together.
All right. Before you, the door to the treasure, you hear the shrill wail of the door hinge as it rotates for the first time after years of disuse. Almost like a sleeping giant letting out an extended yawn.
It's open! Come on, let's go in! Paimon wants to see what's inside!
Ooh, me too!
Ugh, uncovering hidden treasure is the most exciting part of adventuring. What do we have here? Uh-huh.
A stone tablet? And some shabby weapons?
You call this a treasure vault? Looks more like an abandoned warehouse.
Maybe the troupe ran out of budget at the end?
They provided a super immersive experience at the beginning only to drop the ball at the most important part. They could have at least filled this place with cardboard Mora or something.
Wait, I get it now. Paimon, this is the real Marashose Hunter.
Huh?
This is it? The Marashose Hunter treasure is just...
Whoa, are you okay?
The Marashose hunter before you appears to suffer a serious mental breakdown. He needs to leave the room for a moment to collect himself. One of you seems to understand the significance of the treasure already. If... So, how are you doing?
What?
Do you remember how you got here? Or what...
I remember now. I brought you here because I wanted to... The explosives in the cave!
You mean these?
Huh? How did you...
I could tell something was off the moment I stepped into this cave, so I kept an eye out. I've already dismantled the whole thing.
So the strongest champion duelist in all of Fontaine saved the...
I deserve some answers, don't you think? Everything you said earlier sounded like the truth.
I don't know. I just always felt like there was something in my heart that didn't belong to me. The feelings about my father and the other Marashose hunters are real. It just wasn't fair. I was angry, bitter that no one remembered them or praised their accomplishments. I don't know when it started, but at some point, my anger came to completely consume me. At that point...
But if the treasure was all you cared about, why plant all those
I can't remember. My head is a mess.
From your description, I suspect you were dealing with a devorator.
Devorator?
Oh, your master... your father, I mean. Never talked about it? It was a kind of...
No, I've heard of it. Wait, it can't be.
The seal?
My family has served as Marashose hunters for many generations. But the title and swordsmanship weren't the only things passed down over our line. There was a seal as well. My father instructed me to always watch over that seal and maintain it regularly. He said it had been passed down over a truly ancient age, and protecting it was our clan's most important duty. But I neglected that duty after he died. I finally decided to come down and check on it one day, and that's where my memories become fuzzy.
The Devorator would be a formidable adversary for any mortal being, even ones as capable as the Hunters. If you lacked the power to completely destroy it, you could easily fall prey to it.
I heard it has the power to amplify the obsessions and desires in people's hearts.
And yet, you were able to retrieve 3 of the 4 keys.
One of them belonged to my father. The second I stole from a different hunter. And the third was one that I snatched while the person was on the way home from the tavern. I nearly died in that alley. I know just how strong you are. It's as clear as day to everyone in Fontaine. I observed you from dusk to dawn, but could never find any opportunity to sneak up on you. I never even saw you drink a single glass of liquor. The only way I could think to obtain that last key...
I won't comment on anything else, but the script will...
Well, I did pour my heart and soul into it. The stories my father used to tell me about the glory of the heroic Marechaussee hunters and how they came to be forgotten.
It's more than just a story.
Huh?
You're proud to be a hunter. You're still holding onto that part of yourself, no matter how small.
I have done so many despicable things. I have nothing to be proud of.
Then explain the purpose of the evil sorcerer in your story. Isn't he the true antagonist? The one who sought...
But I've already tainted...
Wake up, Florian. Remember how you... Do you really think the hunters acted out of a desire for honor and glory? Or to be loved and... You do not wield your sword for yourself, but to protect those you serve. There's nothing special about a blade. It's the intentions of the wielder that matter above all else. Do you still not understand? Even after seeing the treasure for yourself? The contents of that room, they represent the true legacy the hunters left behind.
You're right. I am a Marechaussee.
I wouldn't be so quick to push aside.
I know. That's a charge I won't bother to defend myself against.
Good. Then, come with me, and help me see the script through to the end.
Huh? See the script through to the end? But there's no more script left.
Never finished it, huh?
No, I mean, I wrote the script with the sole purpose of luring you all here. There was no reason to write beyond this point.
Then we'll just have to keep writing it. The evil sorcerer still needs to be defeated.
You mean the Devorator? Are you...
Is that really so hard?
You aren't afraid your party will fall into danger?
I know what my friends are capable of.
Then, are you going to tell them the truth about all...
I don't intend to spoil the fun. Sometimes, protecting dreams and fantasies is more important than exposing the truth. Don't you think?
they're back!
That took a while.
Ahem! My fellow Marashose hunters, please forgive me, for I have sinned.
Tone it down.
Sorry. After crossing...
Oh, do I...
I confess, I was brainwashed by the evil sorcerer. He asked me to lure you here so he could bury you in this cave.
That little... Wait, you're saying all of that wasn't you, but the evil sorcerer?
That's right. He's adept at manipulating the hearts and minds of the people. I fell under his influence because I did not possess a strong enough sense of will.
Huh. And how are you going to prove that you're a changed man? We're not going to fall for the same trap twice.
To be perfectly honest, I only came to my senses after seeing the treasure. It reminded me of my father's past teachings. The treasure was actually...
The names of all the Marashose hunters from ages past and their weapons?
Wait, you... all...
Of course. Don't underestimate a veteran role-player's exploration skills. Oh, wait, I mean Marashose hunter Navia's exploration skills.
We just finished reading through the content of the stone tablet.
That tablet recorded the lives of some fascinating people. For example, this Marashose hunter called Est. She inherited...
So, she was just like you.
Oh.
Well, when you put it that way, working as an executioner, he supposedly used a countless...
Their lives were all so exciting. You could write so many cool books about their accomplishments. How could they have all been forgotten?
Because they chose to be. To hunt monsters that only appear in the shadows, you must also operate in the dark. To be a Marashose hunter is to willingly give up on wealth and fame.
Then this stone tablet must have been left behind by their companions.
That's right. Few Marashose hunters ever revealed their identity to the public. They always protected the city from the shadows. The only time they spoke of their accomplishments would be at night, when they gathered with their fellow hunters in front of the bonfire to share stories of the monsters slain by their hand.
So, this tablet was created not so that the hunters...
No wonder this place was so well hidden.
You regard the stone tablet in solemn silence. The names, the tablet prove their legacies.
Father, you once told me that I should seek out the treasure if I ever became lost. So this is what you wanted me to find.
His eyes are sincere, and his words ring true. You can tell.
I implore you, everyone, please.
Well, I say we like...
Sounds good to me too. Everyone makes mistakes.
I have no objections, but... Mr. Florian, do you even know how to defeat the evil sorcerer?
When he took over my mind, I gained some insight into his thoughts. Every time I thought...
Huh? He's afraid of the treasure? But there's nothing here except some broken weapons in the stone tablet.
What if the secret's hidden inside these weapons? GM, permission to investigate.
At first glance, the weapons appear absolutely ordinary. But as you observe, these blades have slain countless monsters. Though it's been a long time since they were used.
So basically, take these with us, right?
I'll take this weapon, since it used to belong to Est. Maybe it'll find comfort in being held by someone who appreciates the arts.
Ah, good idea. I'll take Mr. Walter's bow then. From one archer magician to another.
Paimon's gonna pick a cool weapon too!
As you grip your weapons, you can almost feel the will of past hunters coursing through your being. It's a feeling of courage, determination. A silent vow passed down from generation to generation that says, eradicate the monsters, no matter the cost.
Mr. Florian, do you know where to find the evil sorcerer?
I was able to see his surroundings when our minds were connected. I believe he's currently hiding out at the church in the kingdom. We must be extremely careful. He's spent so long living among monsters that he's now taken the form of one. He will not be easily defeated.
Then why don't we explore some more and try to find some higher level gear? We don't want to just fight him and lose, right?
Oh, No, we have to strike now. He was greatly weakened when I managed to break out of his control. If we let him rest, he might have time to escape.
I agree with Mr. Florian. We've got to act while we have the advantage. Don't forget, the people of the capital are counting on us.
Yeah, now that we've got a plan, there's no point in waiting. The longer this drags on, the worse it will be for everybody.
Yes, that's what's called... Yes, that's exactly right.
Alright, you've persuaded Paimon.
Mr. Florian, please, lead the way.
Of course. Follow me.
He had to set up so many scenes today, and now he has to join in for this last part. I really don't envy his job.
Finally, you decide to slay the evil sorcerer and bring peace back to the kingdom once and for all. As you walk away, you feel the gaze of the stone tablet at your back, as if all the hunters of